Hello and welcome to another video trying to get you the very top grades. So obviously in the literature exams, if you can learn some quotations, you're going to get really high marks. In my previous video, I taught you how to pick the right quotations to get you the marks, and I'll put a link to that video up here, probably in about 5 minutes time. Today I want to introduce you to the idea of cognitive scientists. So I'll give you a link to their website, and they take all the findings of how memory works from the scientific point of view and divide it up into 6 strategies, which I'm going to explain to you today with quotations. These strategies work with any kind of revision, but obviously it's quotations that we're focusing on. And so we're going to look at space practice, retrieval practice, elaboration, interleaving, concrete examples, and dual coding. Stay tuned. Let's start with elaboration. So in my last video I gave you this quotation on Jekyll and Hyde, and I showed you how you could take a quotation like ape-like fury and elaborate on it using other words from the quotation. And the skill of elaboration was to link it to the other themes of the novel. So let me show you elaboration using a quotation from Macbeth. This is Lady Macbeth talking about her husband. She's planning to kill Duncan, and she suspects that he won't go along with the plan. And this is what she says about him. "Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness." So when I elaborate, I try to link this to other ideas in the play. So the first thing I'm going to focus on is this idea of the milk. Why does she focus on milk? Well, the image of whiteness connects us to innocence, and I can think about this as the beginning of Lady Macbeth losing her innocence, which eventually leads to her suicide at the end of the play. Another thing I can focus on here is that this is actually the milk that she would be producing in her own breasts for her dead child. And so this explores the theme of motherhood and grief in the play, where Shakespeare is possibly suggesting that the plot to murder Duncan begins when she loses her only child. And it's this extreme level of grief at the death of her own child that makes her think about filling this void, this hole in her, with some other prize. And the only prize that she can think of that's great enough to replace the dead infant is to become queen. The other theme here is a Christian one. So Lady Macbeth is following in the footsteps of Eve, who tempted Adam to eat of the forbidden fruit, and this led to us all having original sin because Adam and Eve ate from that first fruit that God had forbidden them to eat. Well, that's what's going on here in her portrayal. She is like Eve, taking the innocent Macbeth, who's full of the milk of innocence and human kindness, and forcing him to go against his nature and become evil and kill the king. So one reason Shakespeare might be doing that is to go along with society's view of women as sexual temptresses, as the most corrupting influences, as the most evil of male and female. Or he could be doing this to show that that view is a patriarchal view and a fiction. And what we clearly have is a generosity of spirit that she thinks her husband's lovely, but actually the very opening sequence shows us that Macbeth is much more like a psychopath. He enjoys killing, he's relished in battle, and we've got this extraordinary detail of him unseaming the enemy from the nave to the chops, slicing him from his belly button up to his chin, and getting in close, getting covered in blood and guts, and enjoying it. Okay, now that was the skill of elaboration, connecting it to other ideas. So to recap, there were 3 kinds of elaboration that I showed you. Linking it to more than one theme, linking it to more than one character. We had Lady Macbeth and Macbeth here, and we linked it to other events that we know about, for example, Macbeth killing the Norwegians and Lady Macbeth losing her only child. Now, the great news about this is that elaboration just doesn't help memory. Elaboration will also help you come up with a better exam answer, because when you link all these ideas together, you are constructing an argument which puts you into the top grade. And the other thing that linking does is it gives you a conceptualized response. And conceptualized is the word that the examiners have in the very top band of the mark scheme. So once you elaborate, you develop a massive memory. It's a really powerful memory, but it also gives you a conceptualized idea to write in the exam so that you get the very top marks.